drinks your wine, the Baron of Beef, and he stinks like swine, the Baron of Beef, and he won't go home, won't go home, won't go home, the Baron of Beef, the Baron of Beef, ha, the Baron of Beef, the Baron of Beef, ha, the Baron of Beef.
Once seen, never forgotten, the Spooky Men's Chorale with the Baron of Beef from the album The Spooky Man in History. They are terrorising Sidmouth tonight and they are live on this show next week. That is going to be a challenge, getting them into this small room, but I look forward to it. And more Antipodean celebrations after this.
I really love the emotion that comes out of soul music.
Trevor Nelson.
Favourite artists like Donny Hathaway, Stevie Wonder and Minnie Riperton. How can you not be moved when you hear these people sing? I think rather than just interviewing somebody, it's much better when they get a chance to flex their soul muscles. Because when you hear Miguel playing a song by Ready for the World, or George Benson playing a Donny Hathaway song, or Joss Stone playing a song by Betty Wright, you can hear the influence that they have on them.
Trevor Nelson's Soul Show.
After a long day, it's a great way to unwind and de-stress.
Tonight from 11.
Not distress, de-stress.
On BBC Radio 2.
Hello, welcome back to the Folk Show here on Radio 2. Memories about some of the highlights of the recently completed Cambridge Folk Festival, and someone I'd never seen before, although the great Noddy Holder of Slade, a fantastic folketeering storyteller in his own way, I always think, don't you? And he was telling me he'd been to see Tommy Emmanuel play the guitar with his son Django. You can tell from the name Django that there's a keen interest in guitar playing running through that family, and he was telling me how astonishing Tommy Emmanuel was, so I was very interested to see him, and he was a brilliant player. But what a showman, comes from an Australian circus family. He is one of the most highly regarded acoustic guitarists in the world. And here's why. He played stage one at Cambridge, and we've already played a gentle moment from his set while we were down there, actually. But here are some files.
With your work, and the only time we got into a real difficulty that I know about was when one of my characters was in hospital having a baby, and she was thinking about the Bible, and he started making her think in Roman Catholic terms. And I said, you can't do that. She's a Protestant, and anyway, she's an agnostic. You just can't. She hasn't got Catholic terms of references. And he said, but it's so beautiful. It's so clever of me. And in the end, I think he put it in because he was also totally big-headed. Very now and then he couldn't get the meaning, and I couldn't get what it was that he couldn't get because I thought the meaning was perfectly clear. And he said, well, I shall just leave it. It'll have to be incomprehensible in French. But he was cross, and it was quite nice sort of fencing with him.
I was in correspondence with a translator. I'm not going to say the language because this would identify that person.
Impune.
And I'm not even going to, well, I have to identify the novel. It was The Comfort of Strangers. And the translator wrote to me and said, I feel this is the name of a pub. At this point, I then entered a correspondence with the publisher and said, are you sure this is the right translator for me? And the answer was, no, this is not the right translator for you.
One wonders how many other phrases in English might be mistaken for names of pubs by translators. The mill on the floss, the power and the glory. There's only one way to avoid this kind of translation disaster. Like many novelists, I usually only get to know that a translator's been assigned to a novel of mine when I receive their email full of questions. Ali Smith.
It can range from what kind of boot is it that she's actually wearing as she crosses the green? Is it an ankle boot or a thigh boot or a boot right down on the foot, or does it come right up to the the knee? Because these all have different names in different languages.
Some of the most interesting questions of translation arise with the Americans. I remember getting one correspondence. I'd use the phrase, referred to some children in bed together, two children, topped and tailed, and the editor thought some hideous murder had occurred, and their ankles and head had been chopped off. And she said, can we use an alternative? I said, no, let it stand. I mean, let people find out, because the real difficulty of translation lies in things like metaphor. When language strains to make new meanings out of existing meanings, that's when I think the translator ought to be asking questions. But I'm not sure the author would be the right person even there to answer.
Why would that be? Why would you not be the right person?
Because you don't know, you stand on one side of a cultural and linguistic divide. I mean, I was thinking recently about this because Finnegan's Wake's been translated into Chinese, and the translator herself spoke of how she had to cut Joyce's sentences down into small bits to make a new kind of meaning. It obviously has to be more than a translation, it has to be a creation of Finnegan's Wake.
The best relationships with translators cross this bridge. The translator becomes more than an administrator swapping in foreign words for English ones, but is a co-writer of the work.
I was sort of sitting at my desk one day opening my mail, and I opened a letter. A lot of little lyrics fell out in German. And I thought, this is Heine, this looks very like Heine, these are beautiful. Bit by bit I realised I had written them. And this was my very first moment of relationship with Melanie, my German translator, Melanie Waltz. And they had sent me these to see if I would accept her as a translator. And she gets the rhythms, the intonations, and they were German poems. It was staggering.
I had an email from a Danish translator at the moment who's working on my last novel, which is called There But For The, saying, we are in despair about the title. We really don't know what to do. Have you got any suggestions? To which I suggested if you can find a Danish phrase, which if you cut in half means that the reading eye, as it comes upon on the cover, will complete the phrase without actually having to read the phrase, then that would work.
And did they find something?
I don't know yet. It's exciting. It's really exciting.
I found it remarkably flattering to have 12 Italian